Okay, good day. So in this video, I'm just going to give you the summary of our discussion about inverse trigonometric functions. And as you can see from the given table, ito yung ating 6 trigonometric functions with their domains and ranges. Yung ranges in interval at saka in quadrants of the unit circle. Okay? So for inverse function of y equals, the inverse function of sine, written as y equals sine to the negative x, ang domain niya is just from negative 1 to 1. Okay? At ang interval niya is from negative pi over 2 to pi over 2. And quadrants of the unit circle, papansin natin, yung negative pi over 2, located yon from 0 to negative pi over 2, fourth quadrant. And from 0 to pi over 2, that is first quadrant. Kaya yung quadrants of the unit circle of this range is from first and fourth quadrant only. Well, for the inverse of cosine function in the form of y equals cosine to the negative x, ang domain niya is from negative 1 to 1, interval is from 0 to pi, from 0 to pi, sa quadrant natin yon, first and second quadrant yon. Okay? And for the inverse of tangent, y equals tangent to the negative x, ang domain niya is from negative pi to, from negative infinity to positive infinity. At kung mapapansin niyo yung ating previous video, yung graph niya nag-extend from both side of the x-axis. Kaya siya ay negative infinity to positive infinity ang kanyang domain. At ang interval niya, yung negative pi over 2 and pi over 2, horizontal asymptotes of the inverse tangent function. So yun ang interval niya. So nagre-range lang siya sa quadrants of the unit circle from first quadrant and fourth quadrant only. And for the inverse of cotangent, that is y equals cotangent to the negative 1x, ang kanyang domain is from negative infinity to positive infinity. At nakita nyo rin yung equivalent graph of the inverse cotangent function. And for the interval, it ranges from 0 to pi only. Kapag 0 to pi only, first and second quadrant lamang yon doon sa ating unit circle. Okay? Or doon sa ating xy plane. Okay? Now, for the inverse of second, y equals second to the negative 1x, ang kanyang domain is from negative infinity to negative 1, union to 1 to positive infinity. So, ibig sabihin, hindi lang pwedeng x values niya is from less than negative 1, but, greater than negative 1, but less than 1. Okay? And the interval is from 0 to pi. Ang kanya lamang hindi pwedeng maging y value ay pi over 2. At ang inclusive ng ating quadrants of the unit circle, ang range niya is from first and second quadrant only. And last, for the inverse of cosecant function, ang domain niya is negative infinity to negative 1, union to 1 to positive infinity, at ang kanyang interval from negative pi over 2 to pi over 2. Y is not equal to 0. Please check my previous video para makita ninyo yung range tsaka domain niya based from the graph that I presented from the previous or in the previous video. Okay? And of course, first and fourth quadrant lang yan. Now, I'm going to give you an example on how you're going to determine the value of y of the given equation using our inverse trigonometric function, including of course the domain and interval, para maintindihan natin kung ano magiging values niya. Okay? Now for letter A, we have y equals arc sine 1/2. Ito, ginagawa natin to, gumagamit tayo ng scientific calculator to determine the value of y or the angle. Pero dito kahit hindi na, kasi meron naman tayong table of values for special angles. Okay? So we can write this into this form. This is sine y equal to 1/2. Now, the question is what angle, so that if we can, the sine of this angle is equivalent to 1/2. Now, looking at the table na binigay ko sa inyo before, that angle is equivalent to what? That is 30 degrees. Okay? Therefore, y is equal to 30 degrees, or that is equal to, in radian, is pi over 6. Okay? Ganun lang kadali. Okay? So, therefore, if we determine sine pi over 6, that is equal to 1/2. Okay? So, that is our answer for letter A. Now, for letter B, we have sine to the negative 1. But by the way, Yung bang 1/2 is in the domain of the inverse trigonometric function of sine? Yes. Nandun siya from -1 to 1. And 1/2 is somewhere between -1 and 1. And how about pi over 6? Nasa range ba siya ng inverse function natin ng sine? Yes. Pi over 6 lies between -pi over 2 and pi over 2. So, tama yung sagot natin. How about letter B? We have i-rewrite natin to this form, sine y equal to -1. Now, what angle, so that if we can determine the sine of this angle is equivalent to -1. Okay. Saan yon? So, that angle is sa pi. Okay? Pi over 2. Okay? Sine pi over 2 is 1. And sine -pi over 2 is negative sine pi over 2, which is equivalent to -1. So, therefore, our answer is y equal to -pi over 2. Now, sasagot natin. Nasa range ba siya? Nasa domain ba siya ng ating sine function? Yes. -1 is included sa domain ng ating inverse sine function. And about nasa range ba siya? Yes. Within -pi over 2 to pi over 2. So, therefore, our answer is correct. How about letter C? Yung letter C natin can be written as sine y equal to -2. Now, by the way, I forgot to tell you, ito yung ating x. Ito yung ating x. Okay. So, therefore, ito yung ating x. So, yung x natin, ito yung domain natin. Okay? Ito yung range natin. Within the domain ba siya ng ating inverse trigonometric functions? No. So, therefore, ano sasabihin natin? Lalagay natin, sine to the -1 of -2 does not exist. Kasi wala siya. Wala siya doon sa domain of our inverse trigonometric function. Okay? So, yun ang ating sagot doon sa ating examples A, B, and C in finding the value of y given yung ating inverse trigonometric function. In my next video, I'm going to give you another examples. This time naman, this is inverse of cosine function. Thank you.